So we went to the top ranking Gartner, the Oracles, the SAPs, the JDAs, and a few others. And we kind of went for a bid, and we gave our specific requirements. And we picked up the one who had one of the best optimizer. So we have picked up JDA, their TMS, Transport Management System, and their TMOD, Transport Modular. So with that optimizer now, for the last 1 year, we are now doing our own optimization. Now, when we had an external 4PL, we had about 17 to 19 heads. Now that I have internalized the job, I'm doing it by 9 heads. And also, so you save money there, and apart from the fact that you were paying, substantial fees to the external 4PL for doing the job. So there is a saving or a waste elimination. The other most important thing is the whole knowledge base has come back into the 4 walls of Ford, which was going outside to the external vendor. So today, my team of logisticians, they are not only expert in the TMS, but also they are expert in their entire logistics chain and expert in coming out with the best of the network. Now, when a Ford logistician does the network design, he is definitely much more committed, much more sincere than perhaps an external 4PL is. So that, if you then can go and see all the words written on the top, we have gone for API connectivity. That's the first thing that we achieved. There were a lot of discussions on API connectivity. It brought a game changer, the speed of API connectivity and the number of pings, quick this thing. And I must also say that all the LSPs that we are working with, all of them have very warmly welcomed the API connectivity. So we have moved into that. 3D cube vanning, you'll see that in the subsequent slide, how the optimizer is helping us. When network planning engineer is planning the pickup and the truck, the optimizer is actually throwing a 3D vision of how you're able to fill up the truck step by step. So at the design stage itself, he is actually able to draw the cube utilization of the truck. So for us, the cube utilization is not a post facto, but has become a pre facto. So you design the load in such a way, and then you ask the LSP to execute for you, and then it comes the way you want it. Then, of course, the visibility, because the carriers have GSPs, it's throwing into the TMS. TMS is connected to my ERP. ERP then gets the new ETA. Even if there is a change in the transit time, automatically the ETAs are getting moved on. So there is a complete 24/7 visibility. And the other thing is, as I mentioned about headcount reductions, and the last thing which I'd like to touch upon is the D-Day dynamic load tendering. What is happening now that you're master of the tool, so today morning I'll get up, and suppose I have a load tendering of 50 loads, but because there has been some hitch in the production yesterday, either an increase or a drop or some line stop or whatever, there is a new production requirement today. So I can get up today morning at 6 o'clock, and I can tweak the system, and instead of sending a need of 50 trucks, I can actually tell the LSPs, no, I need 49 trucks, so you can delete the 50th truck. So there we save or eliminate, one more truck cost. And the LSPs have an understanding with us that to the extent of X percentage, you can do plus and minus on the D-Day morning. I'll spend a little bit more time on the trucking and the 3D diagram that I mentioned. So the API, as I said, is really be a value changer for us. Now the 3D pattern. So as you can see, each colored box represent a particular part number and the box. So the designer, as you can see, there are 3 step-by-step, 4 or 5 boxes there. So the designer can actually see that I am doing the load tendering, and the first box will be placed this way. So he'll see the part number and also the orientation. So the optimizer is also telling you the orientation of either you're going to keep it in the length, width, height, or the width, length, height, how you should be keeping it. The optimizer is also telling you, based on the data and the constraints that you have fed to it, which of the boxes should be kept in the box because they are stackable, and which should be kept on the top because by design they are non-stackable. So like that, you step by step, you design the whole cube utilization, and that sheet then goes to the LSP. LSP sends it to their hub or to the driver, and then automatically, based on the picture, they load their truck. So I know exactly how much my truck is coming with what cube, and which part is there in which part of the truck. So if I have a multi-dock scenario where I have to first drop the part in my production dock number 1, then I have to go to my spare parts dock number to drop the spare parts, I know exactly which truck should go where, which dock to have the sequence delivery. 24/7 digital dashboard, absolutely there are some 100+ KPIs. we are getting, and this is 24/7 live, so we do not have any logistician waiting and wasting time to create some KPIs for a management review. It's 24/7 building up, and all of it is in your mobile. The last box on the left is very interesting, which is the digital live mobile track and trace. So while the GPS is tracking and sending data to the TMS sending data to my ERP, I can actually go back and see that I have designed it to come through the blue route, as you can see in the picture. But the trucker has taken a green route. Now there can be a good news for us that, oh, looks like there is some new route or a new highway has been opened, so we take that input. It's good, short distance, so we get the benefit. Or he knows something which we don't know. So then we go back into the contract, discuss with the LSP, why routinely I am seeing you're taking a diversion, and it can be some ad hoc reason as well, some accident somewhere or some temporary road blockage. So you have visibility to that extent as to which route your trucker is taking as against what you should have been taking. Now all these things which I am saying, generally all of you also practice, but all of these are generally in the domain of the LSP. But can you see how we have brought the whole knowledge within the four walls of the Ford? And today my logisticians are able to comfortably speak on all these things and show improvement through this. So I think that has been one of the biggest beneficiary of insourcing the whole 4PL as it may. Now we are not only happy with where we are, but we have something called now, near, far. So now is now, what we are practicing today. Near is which is over the next 12 months, 0 to 12 months. And far is 12 to 24 months within a two-year horizon. So today we are extensively using data analytics and then extensively doing whole logistics simulation, material flow simulations. We are very heavily using bots for doing all our supply chain follow-ups and logistics follow-ups. So how bot works, you might be definitely knowing, basically lines of codes. So we have written the lines of codes in such a way that early morning, the bot, which is nothing but a terminal, it runs all through my ERP, picks up all the parts which are shortage, should have been shipped yesterday but not been shipped by the supplier. And it works up, it sends out an automatic mail to the supplier as to, we are observing you should have shipped 500, but you have shipped only 450. So a standard mail goes to the supplier. So when a supply chain analyst actually comes in his desk at morning 8 o'clock, the entire report of yesterday's shortages or short shipments with the emails already having sent to the supplier, and in some cases the response of the supplier is already in his desk at 8 o'clock. So that's how we're utilizing bots, and we have been able to eliminate quite a lot of supply chain heads through that and deploy them into some other functions. Then if you see in the near term, obviously now the TMS is cloud-based, so that's again a phenomenal thing. Our earlier 4PL, we had a server base, so we were restricted by the physicalities of a server. But now it being cloud-based, accessibility has improved. I can sit any country and I can see what's going on in all my operations in all these countries. Where do we want to go? Now, we do extensive analytics, but where we actually want to go is to the immersive analytics, which is, we want the whole analytics journey to be, rather than outside in, we want it to be inside out. So what we are doing, we got a very big analytics team, almost some 300 data scientists sitting in our building facility. What we are doing is that we are trying to have an embedded analytical scientist sitting with us in the logistics team, as a part of the logistics team as if. So that I do not have to go and tell my problem to him, explain him, and then he comes with a solution. I want him to be part of the logistics team where he himself feels the need of an analytics and he gives me a solution to it. So that's what we are going for. So basically further pushing the boundary of the potentials of the analytics. Blockchain, that's something we all know. It's still at a very nascent stage, lots of experimentations going on. But we are also having quite a lot of, wherever we see blockchain opportunities, we call the service providers or the partners and we get them to make some presentations to us to constantly keep learning about this new technology. And wherever we can, we are willing to partner with them. Advanced TMS, now what has happened, it has also helped us substantially in the field of payment. The whole payment system now, because I do the design of the network, I know which truck has to go where to pick up what part, to pick up how much part, and how much part or what CBM part or what distance. The rates are also fed into the system. Sorry. So because I already have all this data, and when the truck comes into my dock, it generates an ePOD. Because I am the generator of the need or the requirement on the LSP, I do not need anything else from the LSP for him to raise an invoice and give it to me. I already know his informations. The only two things which I need is one, his signature in his invoice and his logo on the invoice. So we have spoken to our carriers, all the carriers in all these countries, and many of them, I'm very happy to say, have accepted that we should be able, they will be giving us their logo, and this is a project which we're currently doing. It's kind of in the near term. So the TMS will automatically print out the invoice based on the load that I have calculated. It will have, say, the TCI's logo, for example, on the top, and an electronic signature of the TCI's controller. And then I generate the invoice. That invoice straight goes to my processing, payment processing center. So I don't even need the invoice from the LSPs. So there is no question of, I can't pay you because I haven't received your invoice, or it's delayed and all that. So no more need. So electronic POD, electronic bill processing. So that's where we are very quickly moving on to. And then, of course, we want to further expand and push TMS itself to have connected in the international. So all my international containers coming, I want to link it with all the major shipping liners that we deal with, so that all that information comes in a very, very integrated way. Today, whatever I am talking is all about local logistics in these countries. Now, it's not that we're talking of these technologies only in logistics and supply chain, but also in the field of customs. Now, we know Indian customs have a plan to start initiating blockchain. So we have met their chief commissioners 2-3 times. We have shown them that we would like to partner. We would be the first one to partner with you, any exercise that you're doing in that, and they have acknowledged that. Now, why blockchain in customs will help, I'm sure most of you would know, because you must be going through the pain points yourselves. On the top end is the current state, which is, again, very linear. At every stage of a transaction, from a supplier to a hub, to a liner, to a dock, or a port, and then to a liners. Everywhere there is a physical documentations involved, and the lead time is extensively high. But if you see, and then similarly at this end also, when it comes, you need to have the physical bill of lading, you need to have the physical invoice, you need to file and all that. But once you go into the blockchain environment, none of that is needed, because everyone's data is in the blockchain. And again, just like I said, I don't need your invoice to pay. Similarly, I don't need anything from the importer or from the exporter for me to do the custom clearance. I also don't need to file the bill of entry, because the invoice, which is in blockchain, will automatically should feed the customs ICE system. So customs knows exactly what is coming. The HS code is already fed into it. Duty is already calculated. Automatically goes to bank, and bank debits of the customs duty. So it will be, you don't even need a broker. So that's something which is kind of so within next 2 years is what we're looking for. So we'd like to revolutionize the custom space also, and why only limited to supply chain and logistics. This is my last slide. We were talking about efficiency today. As taking advantage of the downturn, we should spend this time more and more into looking for waste elimination. Let's not call efficiency, because efficiency has, sometimes negative connotations for the LSP. They get very upset, sir, aap efficiency bolte ho, mera business kam ho jata hai. So we call it waste efficiency, waste elimination. So if you see the line chart, it is the cumulative millions of dollars that we have saved from our freight budget every year, year over year, and that the dotted line indicates the cumulative forecasted savings that we will end up saving by 2024. From our budgeted freight budget. And if you see, it's a cross-functional effort, so finance, supply chain, material handling or warehousing team, material logistics, inventory team, purchasing, and vehicle logistics. All of them come together. We do brainstorming session. We have every Friday review with our director, and once in 15 days we go to Detroit and report it. So we used to have the problem that, look, logistics and supply chain has not yet found the space in our CEO's boardroom. I think in Ford, that's not true. Every 15 days, we have to go to Detroit and present where are we on this TBM against the budget. So that's the amount of focus the Ford leadership puts on this whole subject of supply chain and all. So that's a very kind of an quick background. More on the technology side I wanted to give you. Open to questions or later on during the panel discussion also. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.